Hello and welcome back. I really wanted to say hey y'all like Amanda, but I'm not quite as charming as her. But what we are going to talk about is Amanda from Book Lover Amanda's, I think that was right, from Book Lover Amanda's channel, her readathon. We're going to talk about the Southern Charm Readathon. So Amanda, along with 6 other women here on BookTube, are going to host the Southern Charm Readathon again this year. Her first one was last year, and I did participate in that. Again, kind of a last minute thing last year as well. I will link my videos that I filmed for that down below. This year I did again add it to the StoryGraph app. I know she has it on the Goodreads app, but I don't use that. I use StoryGraph and I didn't see it on there. So I added the challenge on there. If you're on StoryGraph and want to follow along, I did link her YouTube video and her blog post, and then posted her co-host in the readathon. The challenges are the same as last year, and this year she has a new bingo board and quite a number of images that they've created to post on Instagram and things like that in your stories and in your feed. So I will, like I said, link her video and you can look up the information there if you want to be posting that as well. For today's video, I'm just going to go over what my TBR list for the challenge is, but I will say I probably will change some of these throughout the month. The readathon goes from May 1st all the way through the 31st, and she has made it so that you can just do one prompt and do the whole thing. You don't have to fill the complete board up, but you can if you want to. The first book is for the Bless Your Heart prompt. This is just an emotional or heartwarming book, and for this one I picked a book called If the Boot Fits by Karen Whitmire, or maybe it's Whitemire, I'm not quite sure. I'll put a picture up here because I plan to check this out from the library. Most of my books on the channel come from the library. We have a few that we get from like ThriftBooks and things like that, so it's not a whole lot of newer, brand new things. They're things that have already kind of been out for a while. This one though says it was first published in 2024, and it is a retelling of a Cinderella tale. It's kind of a reverse Cinderella. So it says Eli Deering has no justification for evicting his stepmother and half-brothers. Asher Alice uses the cover of a fancy ball to break into the Three Cedars ranch house to search for proof of wrongdoing. On the verge of discovery, he flees, but a boy's cry compels him to make a daring rescue. Spunky and independent Samantha Deering balks when she learns the ball her father is hosting in her honor is nothing more than a matrimonial ambush. Taking a break from her unwanted suitors, Samantha spots a thief fleeing from her home. He ends up leaving a boot, and she's on the quest to find him. So I just thought that this was such a fun take on a Cinderella story. I thought it would just be endearing and heartwarming, and so I picked it for this prompt. It says that it is part of a series. Oh, actually, it's a duology, it looks like right now. Part of the Texas Ever After series. The first one being Fairest of Heart, and then the second one being If the Boot Fits. So I'm excited to pick this up and read this one. For the next prompt, Sweet Tea, a book with something sweet on the cover or a sweet story. Again, this is a book from the library. I think this is a digital read that I found at our library. Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Sinchadi. Again, I'm sorry if I'm getting these wrong, these names, but this one says it's perfect for the fans of Lynn Painter and Jenny Han. This romantic comedy follows a hopeless romantic finishing college who agrees to embark on a fake relationship with her childhood best friend, who also happens to be her first love. And I mean, what could go wrong with that, right? So I will put a picture of the book cover that they've showed on my digital read, and I think in the basket there's some kind of fruit, so I'm counting that as the sweet. For the next prompt, Hot as Blue Blazes, a book with a hot setting. I'm actually going to pick a reread for me on this one. Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. My husband and I just recently watched this movie together, and as I was watching it, I was trying to remember what all happened in the book, and I remembered that the ending was different in the books, but I couldn't quite place and figure out how. So I decided let's just read them again, and maybe we'll read them again and watch another movie, or watch the movie again, I guess, also. So this one's going to be a reread for me, but I do remember that I thoroughly enjoyed the stories, and I just I couldn't quite jog my memory of what the differences were between the book and the movies, and now it's just like itching at the back of my brain and I have to know. Her next prompt, Heavens to Betsy, a mystery or thriller. This prompt always throws me off because these are not the kind of books that I typically like to read. I don't like thrillers. Most of the time when I'm reading books, I'm looking for a happily ever after, or what I like to call like a Hallmark movie in a book. I just want to read to escape and know that all is going to end well. And the kind of mystery and thrillers, they don't give me those feel-good feelings. But for this prompt, I did pick Dial A for Aunties. I know this is an older book. This is by Jessie Sutano, and I'm sure everybody's heard about this book, this series of the book. It's supposed to be not too, I guess, not too crazy, not too much, not too, I don't know. Hopefully it's good for a beginner. Thriller, mystery, I don't even know what we categorize this as. In StoryGraph, they have it categorized as mystery, romance, fiction, lighthearted, contemporary. So hopefully this works out. I think I wanted to read this before, but I ended up reading a different mystery. I think I read the Finley Donovan, and then I needed to take a break from them. So I'm going to try to pick up this one for that prompt. For the next prompt, All the Fixings, a book in multiple genres, I decided I'm going to give a try to The Siren by Kira Cass. Kira Cass wrote the Selection series, and I really liked that. And so I was trying to look for something similar to it, and this is what popped up. This is about a siren in the ocean who is luring humans to their watery graves with her voice. But she meets a kind, handsome boy who's everything she's ever dreamed of, and falling in love will put them both in danger. So this is kind of it says for fans of The Little Mermaid and Jennifer Donnelly's Waterfire saga. So I'm gonna pick this one up and see. Like I said, I don't know that I'm gonna get to all of them, but I wanted to at least have a TBR list for the prompts. And I know that I enjoyed the selection, so I'm hoping I'll enjoy this as well. Okay, I started recording and then mayhem ensued. So I think where I left off was on Chicken and Dumplings, a book you think will be a comfort read. This one I actually own. This one I picked up from, I actually picked it up from our library at like the Friends of the Bookstore when they sell the used books. An Amish Kitchen. This is by 3 authors, Beth Wiseman, Kelly Long, and Amy Clipston. It's 3 sweet stories to nourish your soul. And they're just 3 short stories. Normally I'm not really fond of short stories. I want to like come into a book and stay with it. I actually am really, really fond of series because you get to stay in the story for, in the world for a little bit. But this one I thought would be endearing because it's got, I know I've read multiple books by Beth Wiseman. I'm not sure if I've read by the other 2 authors, but the end of the book here, for each of the stories, they give recipes from the book. So the first story that I read was actually, has to do with a young girl who is learning from her aunt, I believe it's her aunt, about herbal remedies and things like that. And so for hers, there's not actually a recipe, but there is like tinctures, you know, herbal remedies. It's not, I don't know why that word is not coming out right. It doesn't sound right to me. But they've got little recipes in there for things like that. Chapped lips, athlete's foot, warts, that kind of thing. So I just thought that this would be fun, not chapped lips and athlete's foot, but to maybe read the books and try a couple of the recipes, meatloaf soup. I think there's like even desserts in here and stuff. And it just tells 3 short stories. So I think it'll be a comfort read. I find that Amish reads typically are for me. They're the ones that are, I know, safer maybe. Some of them do deal with some heavier topics, but for the most part, these are comfort reads for me. The next prompt, hey y'all, a book with more than one point of view, more than one point of view. Man, I'm so sorry. I think I'm rushing, so I'm trying to say the words faster than my mouth can keep up with. But for this one, I have some books downloaded on the Kindle app in my phone that I've not gotten to yet. And so I went through and I searched and I had All the More by Toni Shiloh. I love Toni Shiloh. All of her books that I've read so far have just been amazing. And so I feel like this will be as well. This one is written from 2 point of views, and so that this would be a good reason to pick it up. This one, it looks like when I put it into StoryGraph that it's only available as an ebook, and it is part of the Something Borrowed collection. So it is book 2 of that collection. It's a short read coming up at only 137 pages, but this one follows Layla Anderson and Reggie Moore. Reggie is introduced in the first book in the series, and Layla is briefly talked about as Reggie's friend. But in this one, we're going to get to dive in more and find out about the two of them. Layla's been living behind the screen to hide her disability, and everything she does can be done from the safety of her home in a remote setting. When she starts a friendship online, she never thought they'd see each other face to face. Enter Reggie. He can't believe he gets the chance to finally meet his online friend and fellow gamer, Layla. Yet she seems happy with the distance between them, and when a job promotion comes with an opportunity to close the distance, Reggie takes it as a yes from God. So like I said, this is another shorter read, but I kind of wanted to catch up on what I had on my Kindle app and make sure that the books that I was picking would be available when it was time for me to read them. The next book, Howy Partner, a book featuring friendship or family. This one I actually have checked out right now from my library, so I'm hoping to finish it in May, and then that way it will count. I did start it, and I'm not too far along yet. At the time of recording, we have like 4 days left of April, so hopefully I won't finish it before we get to May, but who knows. If we do, we'll just pick something else. But this one is Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce, author of A Hot British Boyfriend, it says. This one is about Riley Morris. Her dream is to become a Broadway director. This is a YA, so currently she is in high school. I think she's about to be a senior or is a senior, and Riley gets herself in trouble, and for punishment she needs to go work at her dad's game store. Now Riley is not interested in games whatsoever, and it is a fitting punishment for her because she doesn't want to be there, and she kind of blames the game store for her parents' divorce. So that is kind of the family aspect of it. I think that we'll probably find out a little bit more about the mom and dad, and right now Riley is a little estranged from her dad. She doesn't openly dislike him, but she's at that stage where she just really has nothing in common with him, she feels like, and she's not really close to him at all. And in the beginning, like I said, I'm only about 72 pages in. I'm gonna start chapter 7. He seems like he really is, he's trying to welcome her into his world, and he's trying to like make friends with her, but he doesn't quite know where to meet her at yet. So like I said, I think that's where the family aspect is going to come into play. But of course, there's also a romance aspect to this, in that there is a young boy that works, or a boy her age, who works at the store as well. He actually goes to school with her, and one day when her ex-boyfriend comes into the shop to try to make her jealous because her ex has moved on, she in turn tries to make him jealous, and this nerd that she otherwise would have nothing to do with, so fake dating trope, comes in, and that's kind of the only place, that's where I'm at right now. She's just joined the store's Dungeons and Dragons game. She doesn't really know anything about it, but she thinks in the role playing this is a fun way to kind of beef up her acting skills. And so we'll see what happens with the rest of this story, but I added this one because I thought this would be a fun kind of family tie-in, and I've heard pretty good things about this. I've seen it around a little bit. So that is the end of my TBR list. The last prompt though is Southern Hospitality, and it's a free space, so I didn't put anything on that for my like to be read. I just figured whatever extra bonus book I read this month, then I would go ahead and do that. As of right now for April, I think I've read 9 books, so I'm pretty hopeful that for May I can also at least get 9 in, but we'll see. If you'd like to join in the readathon, or if you already have your TBR list, link it down below. If you have suggestions, if you've read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts were on them. And as always, if you don't know or just need to be reminded, may be the one to tell you that you are deeply and truly loved and so, so appreciated. I really appreciate you taking your time out and hanging out here with me. Thanks for watching.